but now I'll rise above you.
Swazdullah, everybody. How the hell are you doing? I'll just say this right out of the gate. Apologies if I don't sound super chipper or my usual, I guess, semi-energetic self or whatever. I'm not feeling myself all that much lately. Hence why I kind of dropped from the face of the earth. But, like, no worries. Anyways, that being said, I want to hop straight into this video and get this over and done with. We had a home dev stream recently where the devs talked a little bit about what was coming to Warframe before the end of the year. Arcana update something 0.5, which will bring a whole bunch of stuff to deimos and kind of increase the quality of deimos, I guess, and whatnot, and some other things here and there. Those I don't want to talk about. What I do want to talk about are two things: the Chroma Rework and Steel Path changes. Okay, so what are the Steel Path changes? Number one, I highly recommend you go and watch that dev stream, or go watch any of the other 10, 15, 20 YouTubers that are covering maybe the dev stream. Well, it's probably not that many anymore, maybe 5 or so. If you want the exact details, I'll just give you a very quick rundown so that you know what I'm talking about. So Rebecca went ahead and kind of explained what kind of changes they're going to do with Steel Path, because Steel Path is this hard mode that was never intended to be endgame, was never intended to be anything other than just regular star chart, but, you know, more difficult. That's what DE themselves said. They never intended it to be the real, true endgame or anything. It was just a place where us players can go and immediately face more difficult enemies, opposed to having to spend 3, 4, 5, 6 hours in a survival to get the same, roughly the same level of enemies, right? That's all it was supposed to be. So regardless of Steel Path never being intended of being anything more, here are some changes being made to it, which are not bad, by the way. I welcome them very much. So the Acolytes, the Stalker recruited personal SWAT team of the Stalker, are coming to Steel Path, and they will now drop the Steel Essence. Okay, a lot of people got a little bit upset about that and had some concerns, partially. Mainly because of concerns, people got upset. I think generally people seem to like the idea. There's nothing wrong with it either, in my opinion at least. I don't think that there's anything wrong with this idea. But there are a couple of questions that make me wonder a little bit. So first off, Steel Essence already didn't drop like candy. It was not a drop that you would see very often, so I don't think putting it on a mini-boss within the realm of Steel Path is a big deal. I don't think that will change much. However, and this is also kind of asking DE directly, how are these guys going to spawn? Because if we're talking that the Acolytes are going to spawn in certain intervals of 5 to 8 minutes or something, very much like the Sancients do on the moon, then great, then awesome, because then every so often you have a chance to drop Steel Essence, or you definitely drop Steel Essence if you actually kill them. And number two, you have a reason, and this is one of the concerns that I heard a lot on my server at least, you have a reason to actually go further into Steel Path, especially on endurance runs, right? Because if it's not the case that the Acolytes spawn every couple of intervals, not every couple of intervals, but every specific interval or whatever, then why would anybody do Steel Path for a longer amount of time? There's no incentive to go far. There just isn't. Imagine you can do a 5-minute survival, right? And within 5 to 6 minutes, an Acolyte is supposed to spawn, but they just don't. Then you either leave and repeat, or you just don't do that in the first place. You would hunt the Acolytes the same way people did back when they were an event. and go to your exterminate or your capture or whatever, and just do that, rinse and repeat, and keep on farming those acolytes. So I hope that DE is aware of that and thought of that and is intending to implement these acolytes in an interval, so that they maybe don't spawn, especially in like endurance missions, maybe that they don't spawn for the first 8 minutes or so you're kind of forced to stay there for at least that, and then after that they'll start spawning every, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes or something, something along those lines, and they'll just keep on spawning every so often, determined by whatever interval they seem fitting, right? Because only that way will anyone ever feel the need to go a little bit further, because that's one of the things that we lost in Warframe. Nobody feels like they need to do long runs anymore. There is no incentive to do it. There's zero, no motivation at all. So these acolytes could change that if they spawn in intervals, like I said, perhaps even every second interval of an acolyte spawning and successfully being killed. Perhaps they will have an increased essence drop chance, for example, not by a whole lot maybe, but a little bit. I think that would really, really help out with people wanting to play Steel Path and actually group together and kind of get back to that situation where people wanted to go long and wanted to go hard and actually get some kind of benefit from it. So that would be really nice. Also, Steel Essence, as you guys know, or probably know, you can buy some stuff from Teshin's Steel Path store. So ephemeras mainly, and some other stuff that, like, I don't know, stands forma. I'm sorry, that's just hilarious. But Reb also went further to explain that there will be a added rotating store with Teshin where he will offer his rarest items. So I'm guessing it's going to be the Conclave items, probably all of the cosmetics that are over there, maybe some of the mods, probably weapon skins and stuff like that. That's all fine and dandy. I don't know how the weekly rotation is going to look. Is it going to be like Borrow, where there's a selection of these things and you can actually choose, or is it going to be just one item? I doubt it's going to be one item. That would be crazy. But I suspect it will be a variety of items, not many, but some of them, and they will rotate every week. So you can spend your Steel Essence on that as well, which is fine. I think that it's a really elegant way to bring those items into the game, because I've bitched about this very, very, very often on streams and in a video here and there, I believe, that there's nothing really connected in Warframe, and tying the Acolytes into Steel Path, where I think they have a good space to be, because it's hard mode, and hard mode should not only have more difficult enemies, but maybe also kind of mini bosses and stuff like that. That just goes very well into Steel Path. Then Steel Path and said mini bosses dropping Steel Essence, with which you can purchase things you can otherwise only get if you play the Conclave. Now, I don't know about you, but I think general consensus about Conclave is no thank you, hard pass. So having a different way of getting that stuff is really pleasant, and I think it's a very elegant way to solve that issue. I'm looking forward to some more stuff in that direction eventually down the line. It doesn't even need to be speedy, because like I said earlier, Steel Path was never intended to be the actual end game or be anything more than what it has been so far, right? So overall, that seems very nice. What's also kind of cool is the addition of the Steel Path dailies. So more incentive to play Steel Path to begin with, where if you play the dailies, you will get Steel Essence as well, which is a little bit less relevant. What I find more elegant about that addition is matchmaking for Steel Path. So this is important, I think, to know. If you don't want to watch the entire Devstream, if you have the daily available, which you will have, right? It doesn't matter if you've already done that node or not, you can play it on Steel Path, okay? And after playing it, that node if it wasn't unlocked before, will then be unlocked, which is mega convenient. Because simply by doing a couple of Steel Path dailies every day, or, maybe just one, you will eventually, very likely, have the entire Steel Path star chart unlocked, which is just convenient as fuck. Also, since you won't be the only knucklehead doing those things, there will be others doing it as well, which means there's a higher chance of you and other Tenno being match-made and put together into games, which is also convenient. And, if you don't want that, then just play fucking solo. There is a button for it after all. So overall, I like that. That's pretty, yeah, it's elegant. I think it's a very elegant solution. On something as a topic that's a little bit less elegant, let's move on to Chroma's rework. Number one, I uploaded a video 2 years ago called How to Fix Chroma. If you guys are interested in that, you should maybe check it out, where I give a full Chroma rework, just some ideas. And interestingly enough, the idea that I gave for his first ability is going to be part of his rework next. I don't think that has anything to do with me. I just think that the majority of the community has been asking to have the abilities cycled. So the first ability, Spectral Stream, will be cyclable between the elements. So you can cycle between whatever element you want, right? And yeah, I'm not going to get into my idea for the rework. Like I said, watch the video if you want to. I'll link it at the end of this one. So no worries. But anyways, that is being put into the game. It was mentioned that the stream will now have 100% status chance, which it didn't before, which is also one of the things that I bitched about a little bit because it doesn't make any sense. And the elements will chain between enemies. Now, I'm not entirely clear if that was specifically for electricity only, or if that goes for all of the abilities, because chaining fire logically doesn't make much sense, right? Or toxin or cold. It just doesn't make sense. But I think, judging by the way Reb worded that explanation, that all of the elements will chain between enemies and they will all be 100% status chance, which means if you put them on fire, they will ignite and crowd control them. If you electrify them, they will become shocked and stunned immediately. I don't know if cold will actually freeze them, and I don't know what toxin is supposed to do. But I would highly recommend to, like I said in my Chroma rework video as well, to put in either an augment or make it a feature that you can actually combine spectral streams. So if I vomit cold onto an enemy and then electricity onto an enemy, the result will be a magnetic proc, for example. I think that would really help with Chroma's gameplay overall. Whatever. Regardless, Chroma is getting a touch, and that's really good. I don't think that touching only his vomit ability is enough. I think that much more of his entire kit needs a lot of help. Again, that's in the Chroma rework video if you want to watch it. But what I do want to get at is finally... That's all I want to say is about Chroma. Finally, Chroma has been around for 5 years. It didn't take 5 years of players complaining about Chroma not being where he should be. It didn't take 5 years of players complaining about Chroma not being all that. It didn't take his Prime release 2 years ago for players, for DE to realize, oh shit, Chroma needs some help or anything. No. It didn't take dozens of Warframe YouTubers bitching about Chroma. It didn't take hundreds of streaming hours of people suggesting ideas and potential fixes for Chroma. No, it didn't take any of that stuff. No. It didn't even take thousands of pages worth of Chroma rework suggestions. No. It took Helminth data to completely destroy Warframe statistics. That's what it took. I mean, I'm just going to collectively, in the name of everyone who has been whining about Chroma for so long, I'm just going to collectively, in the name of everyone, say, I told you so. But, okay, whatever. regardless, finally DE has seen, okay, maybe Chroma does need some help. Maybe the spectral vomit ain't all that. Maybe this, maybe that. At least it's happening. I mean, it only took 5 years, but like whatever. And since I mentioned Helminth, they're also going to do minor touch-ups. I'd call them quality of life changes, not necessarily buffs, but they're good, so I guess we might as well call them a buff as well. It doesn't matter. The ones that were mentioned on the Devstream were Nidus, Atlas, Zephyr, Ash, Necros, and like I just said, Chroma. So all of them are getting some minor tweaks that are kind of nice, and I think that they're all induced by, again, the Helminth system. Remember a while ago when I got a little bit upset? Not just me, a few people got upset. That DE looked at the statistics that were result after the Helminth release, and they were like, "Nani, I don't get it. Why are people replacing Spectral Stream? Why are people replacing this? Why is this not being used tactically?" And etc. etc. Well, it took that for them to start actually looking at all of these frames. The most intriguing out of all of them so far is Zephyr, in my opinion. I think Zephyr will have some quality of life, which I also made a rework video about a long time ago, if you care for that. But she seems the most interesting. I also do kind of like the fact that Necros will be able to kill soul punch enemies if they're under a health threshold. Garuda kind of pioneered this idea where if an enemy is under a certain amount of health and you cast your first ability, your leaping thing with Garuda, she would just insta-kill no matter what enemy level they were. I think with her it's now 35%, and for Necros it's going to be 25% health threshold, so if you get rid of 3/4 of an enemy's health and then soul punch them, they're dead instantly, no matter of level, which is quality of life. Does that make Necros suddenly a complete game changer? No, but that doesn't matter. Necros is fine where he is, but it is a quality of life addition, and hell, I'll take it. DE also stated that they want to do that with pretty much all the frames and just kind of go through all of them. And that's good, don't get me wrong, I'm not upset about this at all, I think it's a good thing. I'm just a little bit... a little wee bit salty that it didn't take years of people bitching and people trying to give constructive feedback with increasing use of curse words, right? None of that seemed to help. All of that was like, no, that's no, Tennos, shut up, y'all don't know what you're talking about, blah blah, right? But it took something as arbitrary and predicted, right? And predicted as the Helminth system to give them the data required for them to finally see, oh shit, there's some stuff that we need to do here, right? No, don't mind all of the dozens of content creators that have been trying to help DE. No, don't mind them. Don't mind all of the streams and all that stuff. Don't mind all of the forum and all the other feedback that they got. No, don't mind any of that. No, just only look at the Helminth data, which, like I just mentioned, was predicted. We knew that this was going to happen. And we did tell D about that as well, but I mean, better late than never, I guess, am I right? So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I think it's a nice, elegant solution and addition for Steel Path. I hope that the Acolytes are going to spawn in intervals within endless missions to give players the incentive to actually stay in long runs for long, rather than hit it 5 minutes and then yeet, because that's part of the reason why the community is what it is today. And as for Chroma Rework, I really hope that they won't stop just there, especially with Chroma. Out of all of it's fine that they're touching up on more or less every Warframe, but especially with Chroma and his long-awaited rework. Like I said, he was released in 2015, and immediately people were crying about his first and fourth ability, mainly his first. I really hope that DE considers actually adding synergy between the elements on Chroma alone, so that he can combine his elements with one another if he decides to cast them on enemies, like I mentioned earlier, and do something with the fourth ability. Like I said, I'll have the video linked right here at the end of this video if you want to watch that that Chroma rework. You know what? I'll even put the Zephyr rework video in there, although it's irrelevant today, but still. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section if you have any, and I'll catch you guys in the next video or stream over on Twitch. Until then, peace the fuck out.